me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Well, not you.
Well, you were looking at me when you said it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is our first edition of OCHS Live at the Sports Lounge. I am Coach McCarthy. We have Eli Hansford here on location in the great city of Pittsburgh. We'll show you where Eli is at here. He's going to try and slide around. There is Eli in the great big city of Pittsburgh on location.
City of Bridges.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah,
We got, Mr. Roberts coming to us live from the fields of fields of Ohio. Where you want to be at today?
Ohio State.
I'm out in the cornfields. I don't know what you want from me.
And we got Jacob Roberts trying to sneak in.
I'm
there
trying
with,
to be in two places at
with,
once here.
with so let me try and cut him off here, folks. It's a new day for everybody, so we're trying to. There we go. He's out of the picture. Now Carson's kind of on the beach by himself. Hold on, there we go.
With a random black shoulder sticking out there.
All right, random shoulders are all right.
I'll try and keep my shoulder out of the beach.
All right, folks. Like I said, we're trying something new today, so it's a working.
Where are you, McCarthy?
I am at Augusta National, coming to you live. Well, he's not really here, so.
I'm everywhere.
Like I said, we're trying some new things today. So, but today, OCHS Live is our first episode of the actual Sports Lounge. We're going to talk to you guys about a lot of different things today. We'll start it so Eli can talk, and then we'll probably turn Eli off. But Stanley Cup playoffs is coming up. I really don't know a lot about it. Either one of you two know? No?
I know that Eli made me fill out a bracket this morning.
I did make him do that.
So it looks like we've got the Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Knights.
Uh,
So who's the top seed here? You can tell us.
right now, in the Western Conference, the Dallas Stars are the top seed. That's why they're playing the second wild card in Vegas, who won the Cup last year, if you guys remember.
I believe they've won it, the last.
Just last year.
Okay, I thought they repeated 2 out of 3 or something.
That would be the Tampa Bay Lightning over in the East.
There we go. Okay. The other matchup in the we're going to call that
Central
the West,
Central Division, yep.
Central Division. Winnipeg, the Bombers.
I think Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets. The Bombers is the football team. CFL folks. That's your
Yeah,
football.
Winnipeg Jets and Colorado Avalanche. I think this has potential to be the best series
It could be. Colorado's
of the first round.
Colorado's normally really good.
Yes.
And has a stout team. And they've done very well over the last couple of years.
I find this matchup interesting because both teams are very different. Winnipeg Jets, they will constrict you and they will keep you to 1 or 2 goals, whereas the Avalanche, they're all about speed and agility, and they're just going to score as many goals as possible.
Yep.
So they're very different in that way.
Okay, and then in the other matchups, we'll put us here doing most of the talking here. So we have Vancouver versus Nashville. The Cats making the show back up in the playoffs.
Yep.
Good for them. Vancouver Canucks, I'm assuming, are the higher seed since they're elevated.
Yep.
Edmonton Oilers versus the Kings. So who are we thinking here in the finals for the Western Conference?
Well, all year I've said Dallas
Okay.
beats the Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Finals in 5.
Okay.
Over in the Eastern Conference, of course, Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can make a case for every single one of these teams.
To have a
In
shot.
all honesty, yeah, I can.
So who do you see playing in the Western Conference Finals over here? Dallas and
Dallas and probably
Winnipeg, Colorado?
it's tough to
Well,
say.
it can't be Colorado. or
Yeah, it can't be
Winnipeg.
Colorado or Winnipeg. Maybe Edmonton. I could definitely see Edmonton. Of course, they'll always have a shot as long as they have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
So we're looking for a round 2 matchup, probably of the Dallas Stars versus Colorado Avalanche.
I actually think I said Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg?
I
Okay.
think I did say Winnipeg.
Okay, and then out of Vancouver, Nashville, we're thinking.
Both teams, I think that's also an interesting matchup, Vancouver and Nashville.
Okay.
Nashville is one of the hottest teams in the league right now.
All right.
So they definitely have a chance, especially
Hot.
if he gets hot, he can absolutely pull off an upset for Nashville. I think I'm still going to go with Vancouver in 6 games.
Okay.
Edmonton, I think, can beat LA.
Yeah. Now LA's been down for the last couple. They're kind of starting to pick it up a little bit, so hopefully they can keep that run going. And then let's see what we got over on the eastern side of things. We're going to have to maybe cut your head off a little bit here, or make it a little smaller here. All right. We're learning and moving. Florida versus Tampa Bay, the All-Florida series.
Mm-hmm.
We assume Tampa Bay Lightning's going to pull that one off, or are you on the Panthers?
I'm on the Panthers
Okay.
right now. I'm on the Panthers bandwagon
Boston-
just because, Panthers, of course, they made the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and they're honestly a way better team this year,
Yeah.
in all honesty.
Okay. Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs. That's 2 historic franchises.
Man, I have a lot to say about this series. So, first off, the Leafs and the Bruins have squared off 6 times since 1959. The Bruins have beaten them all 6 of those times,
Okay.
all of which in 7 games.
Right.
Uh,
So looking for a long series here and a Boston Bruins win.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Boston in 7, perhaps.
Okay, so a long-
Especially considering the Maple Leafs do not play well in Boston for whatever reason.
And the Bruins had a really good season. What, 2 years ago?
Last year, actually, they
last
set the
year?
record.
Yeah, I
They
knew
set
that.
the record.
I knew they had a good year. I think it was last year, 2 years ago. The other matchup, we have the Rangers versus the Caps. Caps have been playing pretty well. Rangers, another historic squad that's always been kind of.
Capitals barely squeaked into the playoffs. Rangers, of course, won the President's Trophy, best record in the league.
So they're gonna have a lot of pressure then with being the best.
Yes,
record.
there's this thing. Maybe you guys have heard of it, but it's called the President's Trophy curse, where the past, I think, 10 or so years, the team that has won the President's Trophy did not win the Stanley Cup.
Gets knocked out. Almost the first round. Boston got knocked out pretty early last
Yeah,
year, didn't they?
Boston got knocked out in the first round.
So in the
So I think that's going to take effect probably in the second round, if my bracket is correct. And then, of course, Carolina Islanders. I think that's an interesting series. Repeated last year. Islanders have potential. There are 3 main things you guys teams need to have in the playoffs. White hot goaltending, a shutdown defenseman, and a good power play and PK. Good special teams.
slide that one. There you go. See
That
if I can hear the camera.
those are the 3 main things you need to have in the playoffs.
Okay, so Eastern Conference, we're looking for who's our matchup going to be probably for the Eastern Conference Championship?
Eastern Finals.
Yeah. What do you think?
It'll either be Boston or Florida, I think, and
Okay.
then Carolina.
Carolina probably going to see the Rangers unless the curse gets them. Try and make the way through. And in other hockey news, Jaromir Jagr
Yeah, Jaromir Jagr.
played at 52 years old.
52
gentlemen.
years
Still-
old.
Still got on the ice. That's pretty old to get out there and get after it. I think that
He, I think, beat Gordie Howe
yeah, Gordie
for
Howe
that.
set the record for
51, and then he's playing at 52.
That's crazy. That's a long time. If I'm still walking at 52, I think I'm gonna have him. So back to our sports lounge. Sorry, I moved the TV there, so we got people in all kind of weird angles here. Oh, that's too close on me. All right. All right. So let's get everyone else involved in the conversation for a little bit, away from hockey. A little baseball. You fellas want to talk a little baseball?
I think the Yankees may be the best team in the league right now.
13-6. It's one heck of a
They're unbelievable. If Rodon can pitch like he was supposed to when they signed him,
Oh, he pitched in San Fran?
yeah, then I don't think any team can beat him. And he's had a rough stretch over these last 2 years, but he's also been a little banged up.
They
And
said Soto's playing very well.
he's
Soto
playing
is playing out of
mind.
his mind, yeah.
That's a real tight division. I mean, you look at the top team at 13-6, the bottom team is at 10-10. So I mean, that's a real close. Orioles are playing really good baseball at 12-6. That's bad when you're 12-6 and you're only in second place.
I think it'll end up finishing just like that. I think the Red Sox aren't nearly nearly 500 good. I think they're terrible.
Their pitching started off hot, but then they played the Guardians,
Yeah,
and
what was it? Their team
it-
ERA was like 2.5.
something like that.
Something insane to start the year.
So do we think the Orioles youth is going to hang on and stay with them? They got a really young team.
I think they make a trade at the deadline.
If Jackson Holiday can produce like how he's supposed to, like as the number 1 prospect, absolutely.
If he can hit, they got the 2 others. I was watching them play the other day. The shortstop and the third baseman. I didn't realize were 1 and 2 for American League Rookie of the Year last year. So that's a really good base to build off of when you got those kind of guys with your program. We got the Guardians in first place in the Central, and the White Sox just can't figure out anything from the looks of things at 3-15.
Is Bieber hurt? I think
Shane Bieber is out for the season. He's done for the year.
That's bad. That's horrible.
They better go find Justin Bieber. He might be able to.
And
I
the
don't think he can
Royals-
hurl a baseball at 100 plus.
I think the Royals may pull off this division here. It's a really, really weak division.
I think the Royals are going to fall off here in a bit. I mean, yeah, they have good players. Bobby Witt, I love.
Yeah.
And even Salvador Perez, even though he's getting up there in age.
But he can still swing that
But he
bat.
can definitely swing the bat, and he's a great defensive catcher.
they
all things
got hot
considered.
at the end there last year. So I mean, I think they might just continue to ride.
They have
this
a
and
young core, but I just don't.
Finish
I
10 games.
I can't trust that pitching right now.
If they
The
win
starting
90
rotation
games,
scares me.
If they win 90 games, I think they'll win the Central.
Central. I don't know if it's going to take a whole lot to win the Central. And then out there in the
Especially with how the Twins are playing.
West, yeah, they're not good. The White Sox just can't seem to figure it out.
Shocker there.
Yeah. Out in the West, the Rangers playing really well. The reigning World Series champion. I'm surprised to see the Astros that low at 6-14. I didn't realize they were playing that bad.
They got a bunch of pitchers banged up right now.
Yeah, they just got swept by the Braves.
I think,
Had to throw in that little jab,
Little
didn't you?
shot.
Didn't you? That was a little sly.
Guess who the Braves play next? They get the World Series champs.
maybe we'll have to change your background to it's not Turner Field anymore. Where do
You're
they
gonna have
play?
to get me into.
What's the name of
It's,
their
You're gonna have to.
Truist.
Yeah.
Truist Field.
Park.
Truist Park? So yeah, any other thoughts about the American League fellows?
I'll say
hope-
this on the Astros. I think maybe this is part of it, but I know Astros pitchers are obviously banged up, but that's to be expected with a long season. But another thing that I don't really see anyone talking about, the Astros have a new manager this year. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, Dusty Baker retired.
That might be that's
That might have something to do with it. Maybe just not.
different leadership and a different coach maybe coming around.
And I think this is the year that Mike Trout breaks down and requests a trade. I think the Angels they're not nearly 9-10 good.
No,
I don't feel like they're gonna finish anywhere near 500.
I don't
feel
think
like
so.
I feel like they just trade everybody they have. I feel like
they
they
really
just
have anything left other than him, do they?
Rendon's been terrible, and
Rendon
nobody
has
wants
been
to trade for him
terrible.
'cause
I
of his
like
terrible
Logan
contract.
O'Hoppe, the catcher. I like him a lot.
Has Rendon got a hit yet?
Yes,
He
had
has
a
gotten.
4-game hit
He's
streak
gotten
the
a
other
few
day.
hits.
Okay, so he's starting to pick it up.
Yeah, he's got his average of .65.
That's not saying a lot.
Hey, I didn't say it was saying a lot. I just wanted to know if we finally got a hit after 4 years.
All right, on to the National League, where unfortunately the Braves, nobody likes them.
Yeah, boo.
Who?
The Braves.
Who are those?
First place.
Are they good?
I'm sorry that my team is World Series favorites. I get it.
Unfortunately, the Marlins are in their typical basement. It seems like the Marlins are in the basement until they go one. All right, we're going to win the World Series this year. They just load up.
Yeah.
The Marlins are on a hot streak because they had no wins. They were 0-12, and now they're 4-15.
So
So
they
clearly they're doing
picked up-
something right.
They picked up a couple there.
So what you're saying is that expect a surge and make the playoffs,
I would love for the
even though
Marlins-
Yuri Perez is out for the year.
I would love for the Marlins to make a surge, so that way Philadelphia doesn't make the playoffs. I would really like to not see them.
No.
But unfortunately, we will probably see them, and then we'll probably see the Dodgers,
Yep.
and maybe, just maybe, we'll see the
Tigers?
Pittsburgh Pirates.
I wouldn't count on it.
But
I mean, speaking of, the Central Division looks really good there. I mean, your top team's 11 and your bottom team's 9, kind of like the National League or the American League East, where there's not a lot of disparity between those clubs. And it's normally like that till about June,
No.
and then the National League Central kind of comes back to.
Reality and
Yeah, I guess-
starts to crumble.
I guess that's the way to look
I
at it.
like to think about it as the National League Central really hasn't played each other enough yet.
That too.
Once they start having to play each other consistently,
They'll
that's
start
when,
beating
that's
each
when
other
you'll
up.
start seeing.
I think
different
the
numbers.
Reds had played the Brewers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carson.
Yeah, they played at least one series against the Brewers. I don't remember.
Maybe against the Cardinals. Maybe.
Um,
I know the Pirates haven't played
no,
any
I
division
think the Reds
rivals.
have only played the Brewers. I don't think they've played the Cardinals yet. And the Reds are on their West Coast trip. So
Yeah.
they got the Angels, and looks like your Pirates are playing it.
We're playing Boston today in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's what I meant
Looks
to
like
look
we
up.
have the Brewers at the Cardinals,
I'll say this:
Central Division.
the Pirates season is over.
Already.
I'm just gonna say that now. They got swept by the Mets of all teams.
The Mets are 10-8.
The Mets are gonna
The
be
Mets are
terrible.
bad.
The Mets are gonna be bad.
Not a bad program.
They're gonna be bad.
I think if O'Neill Cruz stays healthy, I think that's a lot of good things for the Pirates.
Yes, O'Neill Cruz has had a very good start to the season. Key Brian Hayes has had a great start.
We
Even
talked about-
Connor Joe.
We talked about getting Skeens out.
Oh God, he's pitched so well.
Well, they're starting Quinn Priester today.
Are they starting Priester? I haven't seen that.
They did in fact announce they are starting Priester.
Now, I did see your Pirates had some issues with their closer. The hometown kid got booed.
He did get
and
booed,
he's from Pittsburgh.
deservedly so.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, deservedly so. He blew 3 of his first 4
Yeah, I
saves.
saw it was a rough
Mm-hmm.
start. That's bad when you're literally the hometown kid and you get booed in your own park.
Yeah,
That
that's
doesn't feel real well. Looking at the National League West, I think this is a two-team race between the Dyers and the Padres.
I actually think that it is a 4-team race.
Do you think?
I tend to agree, actually.
I'm going to tell you that is the toughest league in division. In
I tend to
baseball.
agree. And then the Rockies kind of exist.
The Rockies are not very good. They're the
No.
Marlins of the West. It's
No.
okay. But the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants are all going to make a run at some point
I
this
think,
season.
you talked about the Central playing each other, beating each other up. I think that's the National League West just the same.
Yes.
I mean, there's, like you said, 4 out of those 5 teams can play really, really well.
Yes.
The National League East is there sometimes when the Nationals are ready to go and they're healthy. Just the Marlins haven't been there to make it.
I mean, I would say that the National League East is a 3-team race this year. The question is which one of the bottom 3 is going to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Because the Marlins could pick it up, probably won't. The Nationals 100% will not.
No.
But the Mets have a very good possibility that they can get hot. They have the.
I just
star
don't
power.
really.
The Phillies are always going to be hot.
Yeah, I'd hate the Phillies.
The Diamondbacks made the World Series last year.
They did.
They are high and they're young.
If Carroll gets going, they got some young guys.
Well, they have a good pitching staff too.
So we talked about that in the National League. Going back to the American League, in the East, I think just about everybody can play. The Red Sox are up and down when they're young. Looking at the Central, that might boil down to a 3-team race. I don't know if the Twins and White Sox are going to get hot enough to.
Oh,
Or maybe a 2-team race. Can the Tigers
I think whoever makes a trade, whoever goes out and decides they actually want to win the division,
will go out and win it?
will go out and win it.
So that's pretty much open for.
did the Twins are they hurt currently? Because
They are. I know the Twins are hurt. I just don't know who exactly is hurt.
Royce
Probably
Lewis
Byron
playing.
Buxton. Let's be
No,
honest.
he's been playing.
No,
They
he's
were
been
super
playing.
happy
That's
that he was
that.
back.
That's the biggest shocker of the year right there.
In defense of the Twins, they just came off a series with the Orioles, and I think the Orioles beat the brakes off.
I know. They played. God, they played the Tigers. I think they split that series. They played the Dodgers recently. They've had a rough stretch
So, yeah,
to the
they've-
season,
They've had a hard run.
and maybe their pitching staff will keep them in the race till the end. I could see that. Pablo Lopez still very good, although he hasn't had the best season so far.
I will tell you that Central, once they start playing each other, that's when you'll start seeing some.
Who's good and who's
Yeah,
bad?
and would see those records change.
Moving on from baseball, a little bit of NBA. I don't know a whole lot about this. So I guess this is from the play-in tournament and kind of who gets that 8th seed. I'll kind of pass the buck on some of this to you all.
Okay, I got you.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm not entirely sure if they played last night or not.
So this is from this morning. So this should be.
So they're both playing tonight. So the Bulls, Heat, and the Kings Pelicans are playing tonight.
Yep.
So the winner of each of those.
the ones that play tonight.
Okay. So we're looking at the Bulls Heat. The winner's going to play the Celtics.
Yep.
And then with the Kings Pelicans, the winner's going to play the
Thunder.
Thunder.
Correct.
Okay.
And Zion Williamson is out for the Pelicans tonight.
I did see that.
He has been ruled out.
That's a hard hit at this time of year for them.
Well, you know the rules, Pelicans. No Zion, no winning. That's
CJ
that's the rule.
McCollum was terrible in the Lakers game. He might have single-handedly lost them that game.
He's going to have to get hot for them to beat the Kings.
The Kings, one of the commentators, I think it was, I really do think this was Charles Barkley. It sounds like Charles Barkley. The Kings can't defend against a cold, but they can put the ball in the basket. They're going to score points, and the question is, how many points are they going to score? And then, I mean, I know.
Sorry about that.
You're really desaturated there. Are you sick? Or you need some medicine?
It's because I'm out in the cornfield.
It's not that cornfield, man. It'll get you every
Just a
time.
bit too hot out there.
Yeah, if I was out in Truist Park, we'd be okay.
Yeah, I'll have to play with
Try
that. We'll get
PNC.
that later.
PNC Park is beautiful.
And then they got, on the other side, it's Bulls and the Heat. Jimmy Butler,
Jim Butler got hurt.
he's supposed to miss several weeks. And then on the other side, Caruso's not 100% either. I just think that the Heat are nothing without Jimmy Butler.
What happened to Jim Butler? ACL, ACL, MCL? Or?
He did something to his MCL. I don't know what it is. It could be a sprain. It could be a tear. Didn't really see the news on that one.
Yeah.
But the Bulls are coming off a win against the Hawks, where Kobe White of the Bulls dropped 42 points on Deontay Murray's head.
You'll need that kind of a showing then again against the Heat.
So if he can play like he did against the Hawks, I don't think the Bulls have anything to worry about. Because I think DeMar DeRozan also dropped 20.
And can you believe that's not going to count at his career high? For some reason, they won't count that as his career high, like
Really?
statistically.
That is so dumb.
It
'Cause it's
doesn't
a
make
playoff
any
game?
Because it's a play-in game, I guess. I don't know what
that's
it
lame.
is.
Maybe they don't count towards stats.
Because he said he's still going to count it for himself, but even though it doesn't count,
I-
it's weird.
That's
He's just gonna
dumb.
Have to go out and drop 50 on the next
Yeah.
team he plays.
He's most improved player, 100% though.
So
I think
look at-
he's got a better case than Maxey.
So looking at our 2 4-5 matchups, Clippers Mavericks and Cavaliers Magic. Any thought on either one of those? Who comes out the winner on those?
I just hope Luka wins. I just hope Luka wins.
I'm going to tell you that
Go Pacers.
the Cavaliers I have Cavaliers Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals
Okay.
Whoa.
because I genuinely just do not want to see the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Which is why they're gonna win, because everything sucks.
Well, and I'm terrible luck. You should always go against whatever I say. And then the Clippers have a really good team, and I think the Mavericks also have a really good team. The question is, which Clippers team is going to show up? Is it going to be the Russell Westbrook and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard all working together, or are they each individually going to be good and not do anything?
And I think you're in the playoffs. You got to have everybody playing. There's no question.
Next man up.
Yeah.
No excuses though.
Yeah, you're trying to have the next man up, but I mean, it's hard when you get into this situation. Looking at the 3-6 matchups, Timberwolves versus the Suns, and then we also have the Bucks versus the Pacers. Are the Bucks at full speed?
No.
No,
Giannis.
no, Giannis is gonna
Giannis?
miss at least the first part of the series, from what I saw.
That might be a hard matchup against the Pacers. I mean, they can shoot and they can play.
But Halliburton's been playing so bad. He's just not been playing.
He'll pick it up.
Pre-injury, he was
He'll pick it up.
amazing. But after his injury, he's just not been nearly, like even half of what he was.
I think that those games come down to Chris Middleton on the Bucks. If he shows up, maybe
He won't.
Maybe
I don't trust him.
Lockdown defense.
They could beat the Pacers. But
Go Pacers.
I think the Pacers win that matchup, even with Giannis.
Now, first round of the NBA, these are 3 or 5? Best of 3 or best
Five.
of 5?
Best of 7, isn't it?
No,
it's best of
second.
five.
Is it?
I think the next one would be best of 7, wouldn't it? I know the finals and championships. Shout out to Mason Lambert. OKC's going to take it all the way, and he's thinking the Magic might have a chance against the Cavaliers.
I think that's a one-man show
Always
for the
shout out
Magic.
For the Magic, yes.
For our
OKC,
viewers.
he's going to be really upset when I tell him who I think comes out of the West.
The other matchups we already know for sure. Nuggets, Lakers. LeBron's got to be getting old and long and winded. Knicks have been playing very hot basketball as of late and had a really good season. They got a budding star on their program that's going to do some really good things for them. Playing Joel Embiid in the 76ers. I think Embiid's been up and down right this year. Not really.
He's not even playing. And they got a terrible draw. The Knicks having to play the 76ers, who are probably now as healthy as they've been.
Randall is out. They have to rely on Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, really. But I think this might be the Knicks' year.
I mean, don't we say that every year?
No, we haven't said that since the 90s when they had Patrick Ewing. I think this is actually the Knicks' year to make some noise.
Hear me out. Lakers, Celtics, because everything sucks. And that's why it'll be LeBron again against Boston.
I just can't see him getting past the Nuggets at all.
Probably not,
I don't,
but who knows?
If I had to pick a sleeper team to come out of the West, it has to be the Mavericks. If Luka's going to drop your 39-9, it's just going to depend on Kyrie. If Kyrie's playing well as he has been, and if his big men and his Dante Exum, who's been somehow has come back after what was supposed to be a bust.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty good ball as of late. And if Gafford plays good and
Lambo, I'm afraid I'm a bit unfamiliar with the
Washington
song
can
you're
play.
talking about.
I think I'm with you on if the Mavericks can escape the Clippers, they have a very good shot of making it to the Western Conference Finals. But I really do think my Western Conference Finals is going to be the Thunder versus the Timberwolves. I think Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and that roster, I think that's a pretty solid
Didn't they
roster.
lose a guy for the year?
Cat,
The
Is Cat
Timberwolves?
I believe Cat is playing, if I remember correctly. But I think the Timberwolves just have a pretty solid roster all around.
my biggest thing is people do not like Rudy Gobert, but
Yeah.
every team he goes on, he produces a #1 defense. Even when he was with the Jazz, and he didn't have any perimeter help, he was still producing #1 defenses every single year. That he is probably one of the most valuable players in all of basketball. Cat, fantastic player, not as good on defense as you need as a big man. I think they can cause some trouble and running deep in the playoffs if Ant can produce at a high enough level.
All right. Any other thoughts on the NBA, or good to move on to the NFL?
I got nothing to add.
All right, so we'll see what happens with the NBA. The final thoughts, Carson, who you calling in the championship?
Mavericks and 7 against the Bucks.
Okay. Roberts, who you got?
So in the NBA Finals, I got the Thunder
Okay.
versus the Knicks.
Okay.
And the only way that the Thunder make it there is if their young talent can grow up a little bit.
Thanks for the heads up, Mr. Lambert. I'll check on that. I had some issues. Let's see here. So my selections, I'll just pick the number 1, Thunder and Celtics. I don't follow the NBA a whole lot.
Neither do I. It'll be the Lakers Celtics because everything sucks.
You'll at least get a half that.
I should have that. Moving on to our last day. Not really a whole lot going on tonight.
Can we give a shout out to a couple of Masters champions, Scotty Scheffler. We gotta give him props. He's still number one. He played one heck of a tournament.
I picked Ludwig Adler, not to brag. I think what he got second, third. Heck yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, that's right.
Golf is now on the upswing. Next month we got the PGA Championship coming to Louisville. I know that at least a couple people from here will be attending. I don't know who all is going, but I can tell you that I am.
And that's all that matters, right?
Yep. So extra credit if you somehow make it into there and find me. Be like, where's Waldo? And then we got women's golf who had their first major of the year. The number 1, Nelly Corda, is currently -3. And in like fourth place.
What if she won her first 4 events this year? She played 4 events and won all 4. She's unbelievable.
It's crazy how good she is.
Golf is another sport.
And both world number 1s have already won 7 tournaments this year.
The thing was, they always say if Scotty could putt, he'd be insanely dominant.
His putter is woken up.
And then Rory made a comment about switching back to the Spider. And then once ever since he switched to the Spider, he's won 3 out of his 4 starts. And it's unbelievable. It's insane. Well, he's made what? $10 million already this year off 4 tournaments. It's unbelievable.
He's made like $10-12 million on 4 tournaments.
He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's pretty much the favorite up until his kid is born, when he probably takes a little time off.
So speaking of money, one of the issues that came up this week was Caitlin Clark get drafted number 1 overall in the WNBA.
Indiana Fever. Mm-hmm.
And not really having much of a payday.
Well,
They don't get enough viewership.
70,000, I think, is what it was. That's
yeah,
good.
It's a rookie contract, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, and everybody's all up in arms about it, like, oh, the NBA players make so much money, and like I saw like somebody out there, I don't know if it was on TikTok or ESPN, one of the two, and they're like, the reason the NBA gets money is because everybody watches the NBA. The NBA has revenue.
People support. They buy their jerseys. They buy tickets.
The WNBA does not have the revenue that the NBA does. So they obviously are going to pay their players just a little bit less. Like, it's okay. It's not an unequal thing. And the thing is that Caitlin Clark is going to bring in that revenue.
I think she will for the team she's with. Hopefully she can bring it in for the WNBA.
Well, I have a feeling her and her draft class are going to make the WNBA like relevant for a couple of years.
That's
and then
kind of what I was.
People are going to show up, and then they're going to make some money, and then hopefully they can expand a little bit and make some more money.
Because they were able to make the NCAA tournament relevant this year as far as women go. They set the record, I think, for viewership this year. I think if I saw somewhere right, they might have had more than the men had.
They did for their final game.
Yeah, and that's really impressive and will be a change. So hopefully that can carry over.
Well, and when you have people like Shaq saying, I'm not even watching the men's games, I'm watching the women's games.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you're going to have people tune into the women's games because Shaq's got a
See
big
what it is.
following.
Do you think it's just like a mixture of how much talent, or is it just a variety of different things.
Polarizing popularity of
Yeah.
Angel Reese and
I think they're starting to attract people and they're bringing people into it. I don't know that the WNBA, I mean, they've had those big personalities, but it just never was the following
Well, they're finally getting people who are talking.
that it's got.
Like-
they're getting people to talk about it, and also you have people like Reese at LSU and Caitlin Clark who are basically making a name for themselves.
Yeah.
And people are following them more so than they're following.
The sport.
Yeah, they're not watching the LSU Tigers because they like the LSU Tigers women's basketball team. They want to see what Angel Reese is doing.
Well, and they want to see what kind of drama is
Yeah,
going to have.
and what's
like,
going to unfold. People in Iowa love the Iowa Hawkeyes, but outside of Iowa, I think people are watching those games because they want to see what Caitlin Clark's going to do.
well,
So she's drawing that attention in.
yeah, especially since she was breaking that scoring record this
Yep.
year. And then you have, I don't really want to like bring in Ohio State on this, but like when Caitlin Clark got pushed to the floor on the Storm court,
It's true.
court
Drummond
story,
does bring the cash.
Of course, everybody's gonna be like, oh, what the heck is going on? We just had another court storming, and one of the top players in the NCAA got, pushed down. Now, did she flop? Absolutely, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
what about Filipowski? He was
I mean,
actually
yeah,
hurt.
Filipowski also got hit. Like there's big names out there like getting hit on on these court stormings, and so that brings eyes to the.
The band's on the field.
Yep.
Band's
That's
on the
such a
field.
good meme.
Unbelievable.
Yes, Mason Lambert. Drama does bring money. So, I mean, that it hurt the women's programs a little bit to have that on-court issue, but it brought money. People want to see what's going on. People want to watch it. And I think we all want to stop and watch the car crash and see what happened. So,
Well, I also think.
Speaking of car crashes,
I also
the NFL draft is next week.
I think that the women's game is also getting the eyes on them because of all the stuff that happened with women's soccer, and also people are maybe getting a little tired of all the showboating in the men's game.
that's entirely true.
What about Rasheed Rice? Speaking of,
Speaking of car
Speaking
crashes,
of having trouble.
what is going on?
He's doing stupid things.
I saw he reported to camp at least.
He might mess around, and I saw the plaintiffs put together like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against him. He's gonna have some troubles brewing.
No Justin Jefferson at the Vikings camp though.
That was
New
all-
Bengal.
That was voluntary.
New
Come
Bengal.
on now.
That's not good. For
It is
Bingo.
voluntary.
He's on the last year of his contract. He just wants money.
T.
Higgins.
for Justin Jefferson.
T. Higgins 2 first.
Let's
Throw it
make
in
Wouldn't-
there. Go
wouldn't
win a
count
Super
on
Bowl.
it.
That's not going to happen.
They
I'm
would. They
sorry.
should.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
I don't think the Bengals could pay him even if they had him. They're not. No,
They're already going to spend enough money on T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
They can't spend money because they spent all that money on Joe Burrow.
That too.
I don't see them spending money on.
And they spent it on their linebackers too.
I don't see him spending the money on Higgins. I think they'll spend the money on Chase and Burrow, but unfortunately, I think Higgins is going to be the salary cap casualty.
I think he's going to be the one who gets traded.
The odds.
Boyd is still a free agent.
The odds for the second overall pick have changed. They have Jaden Daniels and Drake May now even.
I did see that.
I don't see why the Commanders would take Jaden Daniels at all. He's 24 years old. He has unbelievable rushing ability, but he's kind of a statue. He just takes too long to read the play. Whereas Drake May is 20 years old,
Young.
has an unbelievable arm, put up numbers at North Carolina, and if you win, he's Josh
That
Allen.
Heisman Trophy looks really good on Jaden Daniels' resume. That's a big thing.
But he's at LSU. Like
True.
The difference between LSU and North Carolina.
It's actually not that far off.
LSU's got potential. LSU's got players. They got studs.
Look, I'll say this. I might have said this already, but I think, personally, any one of these quarterbacks can survive if they are in the right system.
Except
The
they
question
didn't
is Washington the right place for Jaden Daniels
I think
or
that's-
Drake May? I think that's a big part of it.
I think that's the bigger thing at hand here. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think what you're looking at is what they're going to do with him. I think Jaden Daniels has the ability to be a great NFL quarterback. Somebody made a comparison of him to Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying they're the same, but athletically, what they can do is very, very similar, especially with running ability. So if you're going to take a Jaden Daniels, and this was when I was younger, this was the Tim Tebow debate. Are you going to build your offense around? Are you going to build your offense around him and let him do what he can do, or are you going to try and make him do this other stuff? And for a lot of times, they tried to make Tebow be this traditional quarterback. I haven't seen enough of Jaden Daniels. Maybe he is a traditional take the snap under center and play action and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's kind of what the game was, and I don't know which way it's going. You know,
So-
if you put him in that kind of an offense with Jaden Daniels, is he going to be as successful?
Well,
Nobody really knows.
So-
But May does have that experience, I think, from UNC of playing in that, you know, the quote unquote pro style offense.
Are we two things? Is Washington and New England both coming with new coaches this year?
Yes.
Jared Mayo and
Yes.
Yeah, so you got new staff.
Dan Quinn.
Dan
Dan
Quinn.
Quinn for the Commanders.
New identities on everything.
So, one thing I will say, and this is not a knock on Drake May at all, but the reason why
Two defensive coaches.
Yes, but the reason why that Washington might be a little skeptical on Drake May is because he's literally just Sam Howell.
That's a good point.
He is the same person. He went to the same college,
No.
and all that Drake May has on Sam Howell right now is his arm.
his rushing ability is 10 times better than Howe's.
Yeah, but Drake May is literally just a carbon copy of Howell, just slightly better. And even in college, you could compare them, and they are literally almost the same person.
And I like Hal if you put him outside of Washington because Hal's a gunslinger. He's got a rocket arm and throws the ball crazy, but he has no time in the pocket. He's got the weapons.
I could
It's-
argue that gunslinger mentality is what gets a lot of people in trouble.
Mahomes is a gunslinger.
Yeah, but Mahomes is also freaking Mahomes. Like, he does stupid things,
He
and
makes
somehow
magic.
somehow it works.
All right, real quick before we're forced to wrap this up.
Yeah, this is probably
Who-
one of it.
What do you guys want your teams to take?
D-line.
You wanna see the Bengals take
need to
D-line.
take a defensive tackle, especially after losing the
Well, they
run
signed someone
stopper
else.
Reader.
They signed
signed Rankins, but
Yeah,
Rankins is not very good.
No, he's not. He's not on the
run
level of
defender.
DJ Reader. I tend to agree.
If Bowers is still on the board, I would say the Bengals need to take him.
He might be.
He's
Tight
no
end isn't
way.
exactly the most valuable position, anyways. So
don't
it's
know if-
very
I don't
plausible.
see him
The
going
Eagles
this
are going to
far.
trade up again, take to Georgia. They're just building the Georgia
Georgia
team.
North,
Gosh.
the NFL Georgia program.
Lambeau, fellow Bungles fan
I wouldn't be surprised
for you guys.
if
If they-
Tight end.
Tight end or D line. I tend to agree. Although I think the O line needs a bit of work there.
I think the O line's always going to need some help for the Bengals, and I'm sure they're going to pick up a receiver. They normally do pretty good about doing that later in the draft. So we'll.
I'd
I
love
think
to see.
the-
I would love to see the Steelers take a center because that's definitely their most needed position right now, and then probably a slot corner in the second.
I don't know that you'll see a center in the first round, but
I think the Vikings trade up to number 3 and take a quarterback. One of them that's not available. I think if Commanders go May, they go Daniels, vice versa.
all right. So last question: is J.J. McCarthy going to be legit in the
And
NFL?
he is terrible.
Depending on where he
Unbelievably
goes.
terrible.
I don't know. I think he's a system guy too.
I'm going to tell you right now that J.J. McCarthy will work in whatever system that they put him in because he'll learn how to do it.
I think so. I think he's what we talked about: is taking it under center, take the snap, play action, and
I've watched him for too much. He's hurt me too many times to not think that he's not going to do something. And then the Dolphins.
I tend to agree.
The Dolphins need a defensive